Welcome viewers. In this video we're going to be taking the toolkit that was in the NC750X, which consisted of a backpack, a tyre compressor and also a bag of tools, and we're going to try and fit these into the seat, onto the seat of the NT1100. Now here's the space we have, and this is the bag of tools we've got to get in. We're going to have to compress them down a little, I think. We're also going to get a compressor in. We might purchase a new compressor, and we might put the rucksack in there as well if we can. Now how we're going to do that is we're going to pack in the back of here some foam in the spaces, and the foam that we're going to pack in here is going to allow us to put first of all a compressor in there, which we have purchased a small compressor that fits. And once we get the compressor in there, we will then take the foam out and put all the tools in the foam, and later on in the video you'll see how we did that. But first of all, let's get the compressor in position, because that's the most important thing first of all. So we've now got all the foam in, and this was just cut to size from a block of old foam that I had lying around. And here is the compressor, and I will be doing a review at a later stage on this compressor. Now the air pipe that goes to your tyre goes from the end, and it's got a torch on it, and it's powered on and off, and you can adjust the pressure quite easily. Now this is going to fit into here. We're going to wrap this in a bag before we put it in here. This is its final resting place. Now we have to get now the tools that we had on the NC750X into the NT1100. And on the left here you can see the NC750X tools I had, and on the right you can see the NT1100 tools, which is what you get with a bike. You get two open-ended spanners. One is a 10mm and a 14mm, and the other one is a 14 and a 17mm. You get a 5.5mm Allen key, and you get a fuse remover, and you also get a double-ended screwdriver, a Phillips, and also a flat screwdriver. The screwdriver, the Allen key and the fuse puller fits on the seat itself. This here is a strap which you can use to secure your helmet to the bike if you need to leave it anywhere, and the two spanners are placed in this pouch, and the pouch is held in to the motorbike with a rubber band. And that's all you get with the NT1100. In the NC750X toolkit I had two 5mm Allen keys, a 6mm Allen key and an 8mm Allen key. I also had a small adjustable spanner which opened up to 15mm, which was very handy for small nuts and bolts. I also had a ratchet screwdriver which had various bits on it. There was Phillips bits, various sizes. There was flat heads of various sizes, and it also had a little extension on it where you could get into screws if they were a little bit further into the motorbike, and that just fitted into the end of this ratchet. I also had two sockets. One was a 12mm and one was a 10mm that fixed onto the ratchet. This was used for the battery connections. I also had a small torch, comes in very handy, and I also had this multi-purpose knife which I never used, so it probably won't be going into the new toolkit. In addition, I had a tyre repair kit, and that consisted of a bradawl, which if you have a puncture, this has to be pushed into the hole to make the hole bigger to accept the rubber plug. This device here, you put this rubber strip on the end and you push this into the hole that you made with a bradawl, which plugs the hole. And you need a knife to cut off the excess plug once you've put it in the hole. You also need something to inflate the tyre, and this device uses CO2 cartridges, and it has a valve on here and a pipe that connects to your tyre valve. What you do, you close the valve on this this adapter, you screw in the cylinder, and you attach it to the tyre, and when you open the valve it discharges into the tyre. You may need 2 or 3 of these, probably 4, to get you going. I also had a proper compressor that ran on 12 volts, and this was just an adapter for a different type of valve if you required it. So now it was time to combine the 2 toolkits to make one toolkit for the NT1100. So we kept most of the parts from the NC750X toolkit, and this is what we ended up with. So we combined now the remainder of the tools from the NT1100 kit, and we added them to our new kit, and we were left with these tools here for the final kit for the bike. Now all we had to do now was to get all this gear fitted into the foam of the NT1100, which we had prepared earlier. So let's go over to the bike and first of all put the tools into this seat. So here we have the seat, and we're going to put the original tools back in the seat, and that's the 5.5mm Allen key, the screwdriver, and also the screwdriver handle, along with the fuse puller. Once the tools were fitted onto the seat as they were originally, it was now time to remove the foam that we previously placed in the bike and take it over to the workshop bench to install all the tools. Now from this point onwards, we're going to condense the video quite a lot, because basically all we have done is taken the foam out of the bike, placed it on the bench exactly where it would be in the bike, and we're now going to cut some pockets inside this foam to accept all the tools. So the first thing we did, we cut a square compartment out in the foam, in the 2 pieces of foam, and this had to go right through the foam to give us the space we needed. And then we started to assemble the tools that we had and fit them into the foam. Now we had a little issue here with the inflator. We had to cut a little bit out there to make it fit. We've got a torch in there. We had to reduce the CO2 cartridges down to 2. That's all I could fit. And this spanner wouldn't fit in either, so I cut a little bit more foam out of the foam block to allow the spanner to fit in there quite nicely. As you can see, I didn't have much space to work with, and getting in all the tools in this small space was a little bit of a challenge. But eventually we got all the tools in. Once the spanner was fitted there, it rested quite nicely on the little ledge. I then put the other spanners in. The torch went in, followed by the tyre inflator. And then we had a knife, which was for cutting off the excess rubber bung, and we were nearly there. So we just put the all the parts together to make sure it all looked good, and then I realized that I'd missed out the adapters for the compressor. These are adapters if you want to connect to a different type of valve, or a say an airbed or something like that. You could use these adapters. So I thought I'd put them in a little bit of foam on the left hand side there, which, as you can see, fitted quite nicely. So all the tools now we have in there. The only thing remaining to do was to tape these up with a bit of tape and make sure that they don't all fall apart. So here is the final taping up of the tools. And remember, these aren't going to be used every single day. They're just going to be used into emergency. So I'm not too bothered about repacking them once I've used them. I can do that on the bench when I get home, should I ever use it. So here you can see we're just putting the main block of tools into the compartment underneath the seat of the NT1100. It fitted in there really snug and tight, and it ain't going to move anywhere, and the tools are going to be nice and secure for whenever we need them. Once I'd got the main block of tools in, I then got the 2 side pieces, one in the left and one in the right, and I put them in place. Once these 2 side pieces were in place, it was time to put the compressor, the air compressor, in the space that was left, and there wasn't much space left, and it just about fitted. So here's the last packing piece going in, and as you can see, I've wrapped the compressor up in a bag. This is just to keep it clean, and it might get a bit damp under there, so I want to make sure it stays dry. So we put that in a bag and put that in the little bit of space that was left, and that basically completed the installation of the toolkit, the pump and the tools. And I finished it off by placing a thin piece of foam over the top of everything, just to make sure that if I put anything in the under the seat, such as my mobile phone or something, which there is space for a mobile phone to be charged up in there while I'm riding along if I need to. And finally, there was a couple more pieces I needed to stow away, and that was the tools for the tyre puncture repair kit. And I put them in the tail of the motorbike, along with the compressor hose. So there is the full toolkit I have on my NT1100. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it interesting, and give you a bit of inspiration to get yourself a toolkit sorted out on your NT1100. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I look forward to sharing more hints and tips and projects for the NT1100 going forward, so stay tuned.